Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Hello everyone. Many greetings from Nepal. I am from Nepal. I live in Nepal. I was born in Himalayan regions. It's called Humla. It is Tibet, China, border of Tibet, China. So northwest of Nepal. So I have 5 families members. My families are working in farmers. So when I was 11 years old, I would really like to go to monastery and be a monk. I have my grandmother. She is really amazing spiritual lady. I told her about my interesting. She was very happy. She helped and support to me uh, go to monastery. So when I was 11 years old, I enrolled into monastery. So monastery name is Namkha Kyungzong Monastery. And my teacher name is His Holiness Pema Rinpoche. I was in monastery almost 8 years. I studied there all the Buddhism philosophy, meditations, rituals, everything. So then afterwards, I had little bit problem in my families. So I have to go back to support and help to my grandmom because she is very old. So I asked to my teacher about that, and I get permissions from teachers, and I was back to my home and help and support to my grandmothers. Till now, I am practice Buddhism, spirituals, meditations, and everything. So this is the very short and briefly my family and my spiritual background. So now I would like to share about inner peace. So I write down here because my English is not so very well, but that's why I write down here. It is more clear for all everybody's. So now I'm going to read here my own opinions. So reading here. So traditionally in Buddhism, we say the time we are in now on of the degenerations. The Buddha, around 2500 years ago, outlined that there would be 5 degenerations. There are the degeneration of life, of disturbing emotion, of sentient beings, of the view, the philosophical outlook of compassion and emptiness, and the degeneration of time. So, as Buddhists will usually say, now is the time of everything positive decreasing. However, uh, while this is the case, it is also seen to be an immense opportunity. With this in mind, I will outline a few ideas that Buddhism has to share with us on this great opportunity. The world now has 7.5 billion people are exactly same idea, who are often unknowing, united by the same goals, that we all want peace and happiness, and therefore we all don't want it is opposite unhappiness. Nevertheless, while we are all searching for an unchangeable happiness, we don't really know how we could over obtain this, or what happiness could even by define us. In the Buddhist view, it is said there is two types of happiness: a relative happiness and an ultimate happiness. This is because happiness comes from two different reasons of cause. This first happiness or relative happiness comes from circumstance of outer peace, while the latter ultimate happiness comes from an inner peace. These days, perhaps more than ever, people are depending on the outer peace that comes from external cause. All sentient beings have senses, faculties, and humans specifically have a very honed or sharper set of senses, faculties, and a way of relating to them. This means, however, that when we see or touch or hear or feel something externally with our five senses, we often relate to it in an intense way and grasp at it and become fixed and attached. If we hear something really pleasant, we identify with it and immediately become attached to it. If we taste something complex and delicious or touch something that texture please us, we immediately become drawn or attached to it. Now, the problem at hand isn't that these things are too beautiful, too delicious, or too sensual. It is that we attribute their existence and presence to an idea of real or lasting happiness. While it is a very subtle, it is while it is a very subtle or sneaky and often hard to notice this attributing, we often become rather attached to these things that we relate to giving us this experience. Simply put, we become attached to these external stimuli and think they are the source of our happiness and contentment. However, as our attachment towards these external things rises, so does our dissatisfactions, unhappiness, and sometimes at the cost of our health. At this stage, you might wonder how something that can currently give us a sense of pleasure or happiness be something that causes our discontentment. It is a symbol, and it is something we all already know, thought very often allow ourselves to acknowledge that external things, object, stimulants are impermanent. They cannot and will not last. Sometimes it is just a matter of time, but eventually the source of our relative happiness will either fade, break, run out, or die. Therefore, our outer relative happiness is unreliable and it is always changing into a source of suffering. We have this idea that if we could only just fight, destroy to remove the source of our dissatisfactions, we will be peaceful and at ease. It's like thinking that if we could just destroy an enemy, all will be well. However, as we all most likely know, if we begin remove an enemy, it usually becomes tenfold, and another takes its place sometimes in great number. So now, while this may sound very diseditating, we have had to explore ultimate happiness. This is something that cannot be found in the unreliable external sources we usually seek them in. Ultimate happiness comes from inner peace. It would be excellent, if this is all that was needed to be said to find inner peace. But it is seemingly something we often can't judge to by hearing about it, the idea of it. The Buddhist traditions develop a merit of method for all the differing types of people and sentient beings to obtain wisdom. Nevertheless, there's too much to say on this with such a short time. So we can begin to understand that inner peace is more important than an outer peace. Each of us have the five effective emotions: desire, hatred, jealousy, pride, and ignorance. In this current age of degeneration, it is quite abuse, no, adversely, avoids that these effective emotions are running rampant. These five emotions, however, destroy our inner peace. So then, what's the relationship between ultimate happiness and inner peace? Well, as well being to control and work with the five effective emotions, we begin to see something, sometimes certainly, or sometimes a little more gradually, that inner peace increase. When there is a complete decrease in these five effective emotions, or in other words, they have been pacified, then the fulfillment of ultimate happiness. How so? Well, this is a happiness that is stable, unchangeable, and unshakable. Therefore, Buddhism suggests that inner peace is the main cause of ultimate happiness. If there is a takeaway message from among the many the Buddhist tradition present, it is that drawing our attention to the thing that objects we are attached and seemingly inside our five emotion, and learning to loosen our tight grip. While cultivating this, we should also begin to look towards the rest of humanity and recognize that because we share the same physical body, and we are all seeking a happiness that is lasting, that we are all on the way to seeking inner peace. So we slowly begin to cultivate to feeling of compassion, because we are all mistaking things that don't last with the source of endless satisfactions. So in this view of compassion, I would also like to send my heartfelt message all over the world to all 7.5 billion peoples. May our wishes and prayers equal this effective emotion during this challenging time. May the COVID-19 pandemic be pacified and all world be fully, truly healthy, peaceful, and prosperous, in harmony, home hardness, and ultimately achieve inner peace. Thank you.